We're taking a trip to Barnes & Noble. Okay, so that was a fail. I went to my Barnes & Noble and they didn't have any copies, but that will not stop me. I found out that they have this on Hoopla, so I will start reading it on there, and then I might order a physical copy later and see if it comes in during this week. Okay, I switched to reading on my Kindle and now I'm at the top of chapter 6. So I'm just going to do a recap of what has happened so far. We are following our main character, Georgia. She currently lives in London and she has been there for almost a decade now. She got sent away by her parents because she had a falling out with her sister, and we later on figure out why. So it starts off with Georgia being in London and she gets a text from her older sister Mary Ann that their dad has just died. Georgia doesn't want to go back to South Carolina because she has a very strained relationship with the members of her family. The family breakdown is her mom, her dad, her eldest brother Tennyson, then Mary Ann, and then Oliver, and she is the youngest. She is only on good terms with Oliver. He is, if I can remember right, a year older than her. He lives in LA, and the only things we really know about him is that he is gay and he's an alcoholic. So he's also the black sheep of the family alongside Georgia. When Georgia meets up with the rest of her family in South Carolina, she sees Oliver has brought his sponsor, Sam. Georgia and Sam are immediately attracted to each other. They've been flirting, they've been hitting it off. So I presume he's going to be one of our love interests. I'm not sure if there's going to be another one. I guess I just assumed that this book was going to have a love triangle in it because like every other Jessa Hastings book has a love triangle. So I don't know if he's the only love interest or he is the sole love interest in this book, but Georgia and Sam are hitting it off. Later that night, they have dinner with the family members and a couple of other people, I think. And at the dinner table, Sam asks Georgia why she's been living in London for so long. And it is stated that the reason she was sent away by her parents is because she slept with her sister's boyfriend at the time. And right off the bat, that is a very steep punishment. I feel like the punishment doesn't fit the crime because she would have been a teenager at the time. And it just seems like a very steep punishment for like a young mistake that you made in your teens, but apparently it's not true. It says in the book, my mom's telling the only story she knows, Mary Ann is telling a lie. So apparently Mary Ann is lying about Georgia sleeping with her boyfriend at the time, and for some reason Georgia is going along with the lie. Like I said at the beginning of this clip, I'm on chapter 6. I'm going to try my best to read at least 10 chapters. I don't know why I haven't been reading a ton this week, but I really need to lock in this weekend if I want to finish this book by Monday and upload this video. So I'm going to try my best to read a lot, and I'll update when something interesting happens. I forgot to say that Georgia's thing is that she has been studying behavioral science and clinical psychology, and she has been able to read everyone's emotions this whole time. She studies people's facial expressions and body language, and from that she's able to tell what kind of emotions they truly are having. So with Mary Ann, Georgia knows when she's lying, and with Sam, she knows that he's attracted to her just based on facial expressions and body language. One big thing that happened was Sam and Georgia were going to go out for coffee, and they asked Mary Ann to recommend them a shop to go to. Mary Ann recommends them the shop that Beckett owns. Beckett is Mary Ann's ex-boyfriend that Georgia allegedly slept with. So when Georgia and Sam go to that coffee shop, Georgia is blindsided because she had no idea that Beckett was going to be there. And then when Georgia and Sam drive back to the house, Georgia blows up on Mary Ann because she knows that Mary Ann did that on purpose. The other thing that's happening is Sam and Georgia's relationship is developing more, and I fear that it is a little bit of a insta-love situation. We are constantly being told that they have such a strong connection, but when I take a step back, I remember that it's only been 2 days, so it's a bit hard for me to like believe in their connection. But Jessa Hastings does write in a way where you do kind of believe in them and you root for their relationship. This book is almost 500 pages long, so I know there's definitely going to be some ups and downs with these two, so I'm still seated. I'm with you, Jessa. So I just finished reading chapter 15, where we find out what really went down between Beckett and Georgia. So we find out that Beckett has just been sexually assaulting Georgia for like a year, and the whole time Mary Ann knew about it. And it just so happens that the last time Beckett sexually assaulted her was the time that her dad found out, and then Mary Ann pretended like she didn't know that this was going on. So she's evil. Like, she's not just a bad sister she's legitimately evil. And before, I was trying to wrap my head around why Georgia wouldn't just tell her parents and tell her siblings the truth behind the situation, but that was before I read this chapter. But it totally makes sense why Georgia wouldn't want to tell everyone the truth, because that would be traumatic to have to tell everyone that that was happening to you for a year. And I'm sure that in this old southern town it would be twisted in a way that somehow it would still end up being her fault, even though at the time she was 15, and she doesn't have the control of the situation when he is the older one. Yeah, Beckett is evil. Marianne is evil. They just had their dad's funeral, and then afterwards they went out to a bar. Marianne comes in with her husband, Beckett, and then another one of their friends. She starts being rude to Georgia because I guess she can't help herself. And finally, Georgia has had enough, so she airs out everything that happened between her and Beckett all those years ago to the whole entire bar. So now everyone knows the truth of the situation. Immediately after Georgia tells everyone what happened, Tennyson and Sam start to beat up Beckett. Hallelujah, praise the Lord. He needed that. I will say, I need Georgia to punch Marianne in the face at least one time in this book. Jessa Hastings, please make this happen. She needs to be whacked so hard. Anyways, after all this went down, Sam and Georgia do end up kissing this night, so they are now like this, but they've decided to keep it under wraps because Oliver has been acting really strange and jealous about their relationship. Georgia can tell that Oliver likes Sam in a romantic capacity, I guess, and we the reader know that as well, but he's lying about it. And he said a couple of really nasty things to her, so he's not on my good list right now. I've also learned a little bit about Georgia's ex. She used to date this guy named Anatole, and he is one of Julian's boys. So he's in the same line of work as Julian, and I believe we see him in both Daisy Hates books. I'm not quite sure when this book and the Daisy Hates books overlap. I think they're in really close timelines, but I don't really know for sure. He breaks up with Georgia because he's in a very dangerous line of work and he doesn't want her to get hurt. So that's how her last relationship has ended. Oliver has taken Georgia out to breakfast as like a peace offering, and she tells him a little bit about her past relationship. And then Oliver asks if there's anything going on between her and Sam. And guess what she says? No. In what world is lying about this going to have a good outcome? Is Alexis his mistress? Who's Alexis? Everything I read last night was Tennyson, Sam, Oliver, and Georgia take a road trip down to New Orleans because they're trying to figure out who Alexis is. They find Alexis. Turns out their dad was having a secret affair with a man this whole time. I'm gonna keep reading and see how this gets resolved. Sure, why not? Oliver has just found out that Georgia and Sam have been together behind his back. And I just feel like I don't care. Not to disregard Oliver's feelings, because I can understand liking, in this case, Sam, and being a little jealous that Georgia is with him. But like, come on now. Oh my God, no. No, Georgia was finally gonna hit Marianne. Sam, like, you could have just let her get one hit in. Just one. So I'm about to read the rest of the book where they're going to go back and read what's left in the will. They are all back in South Carolina now. They've agreed to not tell Marianne or their mother the truth, but Oliver is still butthurt after finding out about Sam and Georgia. He's taking it out on her. He's siding with Marianne. I don't know why he would do that. Oliver has been telling Marianne his side of the story, and of course Marianne's just going to use this as ammo against Georgia. But Georgia had enough. She lunges on Marianne. She's about to get some hits in, and she's been stopped. Jessa, you could have let her get one hit in. One would have been enough. It would have been enough. I would have been satisfied with just one. So now they're about to read what's left in the will. Okay, so his dad gave Oliver all the money that was in his account, which is $16 million, but with the condition that he has to be sober for 548 days to access the funds. Okay. It doesn't make up for the way that Oliver has been treated this whole time by his family, but you know what? I'll take it. Sam said, I don't think he's leaving you that empty plot. I think he was leaving you Alexis. That's really sweet, actually. Okay, I am officially done with this book. And I read the last 10% really quickly. So they read the will. They went to eat after that. Oliver is still lashing out at Georgia, but he's going through a lot. So it's not an immediate resolution between Georgia and Oliver. But Sam does tell him at that table that he will no longer be his sobriety coach because he doesn't like the way that he's acting towards Georgia. So he's on the outs with Georgia and Sam. They decide they're just going to go back to London. But when Georgia's mom walks them out to the car, she asks Georgia quietly about Alexis, like how he is, if she likes him. So their mom actually does know. So she's kind of just protecting her peace, because if she outright said that she knew that her husband was having an affair this whole time with a man, that would change her whole reality. So the main story ends with Georgia and Sam back in London, and then there is an epilogue where they all kind of get back together. When the epilogue takes place, it's been a few months since the last time they were in South Carolina, and Oliver has been sober for 4 months now, so he's doing a lot better. I think they just needed some time apart after, you know, their whole life kind of blew up back in South Carolina. Sam, Tennyson, Savannah, Oliver, and Alexis, and they all are about to go on a trip to Paris together. So overall rating for this book, it's going to be, I think, 4 stars. I think this was a good book. I was entertained. I had fun. I really enjoy the way that Jessa writes. And of course, I love the little Magnolia Parks crossover. So I think that's going to be all from me. I hope you liked this video. If you did, you can give it a thumbs up. And if you want, you can subscribe. And I'll see you guys in my next video.